The expectations placed on us by ourselves, but largely by others, they create a reality that we live up to, we live into. Leaders can call out more, or they can stunt and get less from those who follow them. Have you ever heard of the Pygmalion Effect? Basically what it means is that when you expect a certain quality of output from someone, you're more likely to get it. But it's more complicated than that. You see, when we expect high performance, sometimes we get it because we actually subconsciously invest ourselves into the process and we call out that quality from the other person. As a result, the quality that we see is objectively better. But, on the other hand, we might also be misjudging the value of the output that we receive because of our own expectations. We might be blind to the quality from someone else. And this means that subjectively, we receive less value. If it's there or not, doesn't matter, we've written it off, which then objectively has an impact on the quality that we have at our disposal. Maybe, for instance, we always think that Justin's ideas are lame, so we write them off. We don't even listen to them. And we go with Alison's ideas every time, even when they're not as good. So, objectively, the quality that we end up with might be worse. Alison's ideas instead of Justin's, which if we had just listened, just tried to understand what he meant, well, we would have seen the quality. Or else maybe objectively, Justin might just stop contributing his ideas. He might even stop thinking altogether. What's the point? You see, now his own output, objectively, gets worse as well. That was my experience. I'll tell you that story in a moment, but first, what is this Pygmalion effect? Where does it come from? Let's look at the research. In one of the very first research projects done around the idea of self-fulfilling prophecies, the researchers, Rosenthal and Jacobson, they told a group of primary school teachers the IQ scores of certain students in the class, but the researchers gave the teachers random scores, wrong scores, leading the teachers to believe that these students were clever and those students, well, not so clever. But actually, that wasn't the reality. Those scores weren't real. But then the researchers sat back and watched as the teachers went about teaching the kids, investing into the students according to their own expectations of how clever each child was. And at the end of the year, the children that the teachers thought were the cleverest, they did the best. And those who they thought were less cognitively intelligent, well, they performed below their actual abilities. The reality of their own quality was never called out and enhanced from them. Their potential was never shaped into actual output. You see, the expectations placed on us by ourselves, but largely by others, they create a reality that we live up to, we live into. Now, the hypothesis that Rosenthal and Jacobson were testing was that high expectations would lead to improved results, and that's what they saw in the data. Now, for the etymology geeks out there like me, the name Pygmalion comes from the Greek myth about a sculptor named Pygmalion. He made this statue that was so beautiful that he fell in love with it, and his love was so powerful that it made that statue come to life. He gave it more than it had. He turned stone into flesh by his own attention, his own investment. But it happens the other way around as well, doesn't it? And not just in mythology. When you stop seeing value in a human being, they can become a statue. Firstly in your eyes, and then maybe depending on the nature of your authority in the relationship, it can lead to decreased performance, decreased output of value in that person themselves. I don't know if you've ever seen this with old couples. Not all old couples, of course, but every now and then you see one spouse thinks the other one is useless and isn't scared to say so. And what begins to happen in time is that other spouse just sits quietly and they don't contribute. Either because they have come to believe it about themselves, or because, what's the point? Why put up with the abuse? Now, I'm actually the recipient of the Pygmalion effect. Let me tell you the story. At school, I used to do metalwork as a subject, and I really enjoyed it. I like making things with my hands, even still today. But part of that subject was that one lesson a week we did technical drawing. And I didn't enjoy technical drawing because no matter how hard I tried, I never got above a 7. I had a friend, Gareth. He got 9s or 10s every single week. I got 6s and 7s. I was confused. I was like, why is yours better than mine? One week we compared them. I said, I don't understand this. Why is yours better than mine? Why you got a 10? Why have I got a 6? And he said, I don't know. I'm not the teacher. teacher knows. I said, no, that's nonsense. Mine's just as good as yours, maybe better. He doesn't even mark these drawings. He just looks at the marks that he gave us last week and he puts that number down, or maybe a little bit higher, a little bit lower. Sometimes it's 6, sometimes it's 7. Maybe once or twice a year I might get an 8. But then just to balance that off, of course, he'll give me some 5s as well. I don't think he ever really even looked at our work. So my friend said, okay, let's do a test. Next week, before we submit our drawings, I'll put my name on yours, you put your name on mine. Let's see what happens. That's what we did. When we got the drawings back, my drawing came back with a 9 out of 10. His came back with a 6 out of 10. But my drawing, that was apparently better than usual, had his name on it, not mine. And when he saw that his drawing quality had all of a sudden tanked, I reminded him that my name was under his drawing, not his. I never bothered to put effort into technical drawing again. What for? Even a half-hearted attempt would earn me a 6 or a 7. Why overinvest myself? Rather spend that time in biology. You see, my biology teacher thought I was clever, so I got an A in biology for my final year. But I also worked harder to get that A. And my drawing quality just went down, even if my marks didn't. Now, maybe you're a teacher and you can take something out of this, but my hope is really for leaders in the world of work. I hope that this serves to help you recognize that there are dynamics at play in your own leadership, in your own team. What does the Pygmalion Effect mean for you in the context of your work and for those who follow you? You see, leaders have a lot of power, but it's not just power over others. There is power that leaders have within others. Leaders can call out more, or they can stunt and get less from those who follow them. And the way that we engage with those who follow us and their output, that helps to shape what they give. So if we can learn to genuinely expect more, to expect higher quality from them, well, we will see it. The faith that we see and place in them will objectively yield better output from them. But we can also shut them down. You see, the truth is, this reality is not just for metal work or stone work. It's real in people work too. Do you need to re-see a team member? Do you need to take a long, hard look at their actual output instead of your own prejudged decisions, looking at last week's marking sheet? If you want a rock star team, then you need to realize so much lies with you. There is value in each of them. And you need to find ways to call that out. It takes time, it takes intention. But that's your job. Your job isn't to judge their output based on what you think they can achieve. It will take optimism from you. It will take reality testing, self-awareness. It will take interpersonal skill. It will take empathy, patience. And all of these things are either necessary for emotional intelligence to flourish, or else they are the actual competencies of EQ, or they are the result of emotional maturity. It takes an emotionally intelligent leader to call out the best in those who follow them. I'm on a mission with my colleagues at Migra to build an emotionally intelligent world. One employee, one team, one leader, one company, one sector at a time. Is this the year that you get on board with that vision? Come on, inward and upward.